Let's start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavato Sahanau Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying the text Panchadasi, chapter 3, Panchakosha Viveka. This chapter, as I have already said, takes Taittiriya Upanishad as a reference text for revealing the self. The individual self consists of two parts: the mortal body mind complex and the immortal Atma. When you look outside, the scriptures tell us it is the creator himself. The body of the creator also has a mortal and an immortal self. Mortal self of the creator is this entire Jagat. And the immortal self is the Atma portion. And when you look at the whole micro and macro, micro individual and the macro total Paramatma, Jivatma and Paramatma, what is common between them is the Atma. And that common factor is called as Brahman. It's given a name. In Taittiriya Upanishad, it's given Brahman as the name. In many Upanishads, this name has been given as Brahman. To realize this oneness between the Jivatma, the individual personality, me, the individual, and the total creation, there is an oneness. There is one common factor. The search is for that common factor. So you should be very clear as to what we are studying and what is the end of the study. We should have that as the goal. We are all studying about our own self, about this entire universe. That is the overall subject matter. But in the subject matter, the methodology which is followed, you should be very clear. The thought process, I am the individual and the creator is also like me. But he doesn't have limitations like me. I am a limited individual. My mind is limited, my body is limited. Whereas the creator's mind is limitless, the body is limitless. So ultimately, there is only one essential entity which is called as the reality, which Taittiriya Upanishad calls it as Brahman. And the nature of that Brahman is defined as Sat, Chit, Ananda in Taittiriya Upanishad. Therefore, Vidyaranya follows the same. Now, he is trying to discover that oneness by going into the personality. Because what can we do? We cannot change the world. We cannot understand the world totally. But I have the freedom to understand myself. What the scripture says, you understand your own nature in the way the scriptures are teaching us. When you reach your core personality, that is the nature of Ishvara also, who is called as the Jagat Karana, the cause of the whole universe. So in this chapter 3, we are doing Panchakosha Viveka. That Atma, I am the pure Atma, But today I am covered with the 5 dresses. I'm always the Atma, ever the Atma. I am ever immortal. I am the pure Atma. But that pure Atma is covered today with many layers. The first layer we saw was the Annamaya, the food which we eat, which is basically this body. The food which we eat constitutes the outer covering, which is the Anadamaya Kosha, the body, physical sheath. Then inside that, which controls the body, is the prana, the air we breathe. This is how the entire universe is built. This is the structure of the universe. You're only understanding how the structure is. So the prana controls the physiological aspects of the body, and the body is alive, kept alive. Inside that pranamaya kosha is the mind, manomaya kosha. Now the jiva starts coming in with the help of mind, thoughts, emotions. The mind is the controller of the prana, prana is the controller of the physical body. The subtler controls the grosser. Then we go a little bit deeper, then we say there is a karta, the doer, which is the vijnanamaya kosha, the intellectual sheath. The karta is the one who takes up the body, who decides. In this body, there is a karta, there is a doer, I. So that is the 4th sheath. And beyond the sheath lies the anandamaya kosha, which is of the nature of joy. How do we experience the joy is very beautifully explained by Vidyakaranya in verses 9, 10, 11, 12, which is what we are studying now. We are studying Anandamaya Kosha. We are in the middle of the 9th verse. And the 9th verse basically says that Anandamaya Kosha, the bliss sheath, which we generally experience in our sleep state. And what is that bliss sheath? He describes it as, it is a joy which is given to us in this universe because we have done good meritorious acts. Good actions, punyam, gives us joy. The result of the punyam, or results of what we have done correctly in this world, not only in this birth, in the previous birth also, we get punyam. Suppose you have a good sleep yesterday, you should say, my punyam has worked for me. And there is a kosha. This is a kosha, means there is, like you have the vijnanamaya kosha, there is an anandamaya kosha, there is a covering. Now this covering merges in the deep sleep. That is what is explained in this verse. We were seeing the descriptions of what this sheath is, and we stopped last week in this slide. What is the difference between Sukham, the joy, and Anandamaya Kosha? Let us see what is the difference. Sukham and Dukkham are basically vrittis. One thing you should remember is that Vidyakaranya, he specializes in taking and understanding everything in a vritti form. He breaks down all our experiences which we have in form of thoughts. Everything. If you study all the chapters, you will find that he uses the format of thoughts. Wherever he deals with it, Manomaya Kosha is also a thought which deals with emotions. Vijnanamaya Kosha, I, the thought, I, the doer, is also a thought. The Sukham and Dukkham, which we experience in the mind, is called as manomaya Kosha. It is generated when there are objects which are liked by us or disliked by us. When the liked objects are available in front, it gives us Sukham. And whenever there is disliked object, it can give us Dukkham. It is in the form of thoughts. And why this Sukham and Dukkham comes, these are all very subtle processes which happen in this world. So Rishi has tried to understand these processes and then trying to describe in these verses. So Sukham and Dukkham both are covered by Vishayas. It is not born from objects. Anandamaya Kosha, in Anandamaya Koshas, there are no dukkha vrittis. There are no thoughts of sorrow. The Vishayas are also given up. The objects are also given up. So what does the mind do? It goes inside, and that mind which goes inside is called as antarmukham. Antarmukham darshana praptihi janyaha anubhava janyam. That means it is now the mind is not outward looking into the world, which is where when we see the perceptions of the world, all the five sense organs bring the vrittis. In the form of vrittis, we experience the world. Here we are talking about inner. What is the inner process which happens? Now, when the mind turns inward, what happens is there is a reflection of Atma in that kosha, in that format of the inward looking mind. There is a joy born, and that joy which is born is not from the external objects, but it is joy of our own nature. Because our nature is what? We are able to live and exist without the body, mind, and the world. This you should always remember. And that is what is called as Atma. It is self-existent and it is self-shining. That is the nature of our core personality. We don't need the body to live. So we don't have to ask this question, what will happen when the body leaves us? Am I there or not? Both Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, all of them tell us, you and I have another nature which we don't know. We cannot see it with our eyes, but it is there. That is what we are studying here. By dropping this Anandamaya Kosha, we will be able to realize our true nature. Our experience in sleep is without the Vishayas, without any object, whether it is food, whether it is good music, whether it is good thoughts. But in sleep, what happens? We don't have any Vishaya, any objects. But still, there is a joy in our sleep. Nobody can deny that. Did I experience a peaceful sleep, good sleep? Yes. What is that nature of mine? It is without the body, without even any objects outside, but still we enjoy the happiness. Therefore, the scriptures tell us that you don't need any objects to experience joy in the world. This is a very, very important finding in our scriptures. Each one of us has to experiment with our own self, ask this question, and then you will find your own answers. In the sleep state, we drop all the objects. The objects is what they trigger likes and dislikes. And then the object is good. We get a glimpse of this self when the vritti goes inside and experiences the happiness. Vichiksate means its compulsive nature. What is our nature to enjoy this happiness? We want more and more objects of joy. I want more money, I want more property, I want more, everything in this world, we want to have more and more, whatever gives me joy. And according to scriptures, good things comes to us means my punyam is getting encashed. These are all very subtle processes, but this is how the scriptures they describe. Whenever we enjoy bhoga, it is a fructification of our punyam. For the purification of the mind, our mind has to be empty of both punyam and papa. Then we will be able to see and experience our real self. It is this punyam and papam which gives birth to different bodies. Different bodies means different experiences of sukham and dukkham, and different experiences of the vrittis, the thoughts. That is what is happening according to the nature's law of creation. So internally, the punya papam, if you ask somebody, can I see this punya papam? No, they are invisible, but they manifest in the form of thoughts. Suppose you have a good thought today, that means your punyam is what is manifesting. Suppose I feel very happy, blissful, peaceful today. My punyam is getting manifested. This is the law of creation. I don't do anything for this. This is how God has made this world. Atvesha sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukhakshami. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, in this verse, Lord Krishna says that one who is free from any attachment to objects, he is the one who is balanced, both in pleasure and pain. Some pain comes, he is able to have, he can withstand it. So a person who is happy is one who is friendly to all. That means he doesn't have any thoughts which disturb him. Priya, Moda, Pramoda are Sattvika vrittis. See, vrittis are either Sattvik, Rajasic or Tamasic. We have seen this in the 13th chapter of, in the 14th chapter of the Gita. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, how the vrittis keep on coming in our mind. It's natural for all of us, yeah? Whether you are, wherever you are, all experiences are with these type of thoughts. Rajasic vritti means active. You're acting to get something. Tamasic means you're gone to sleep. Now, Rajasic and Tamasic, they don't hold any happiness. Rajasic because they're always vacillating. It's always agitating mind. So in that, it doesn't hold the joy of Atma because they're changing. What is Sattvika vritti? Sattvika vritti is not, it is quietened vritti. It is not like the Rajasic. It is not the dull like the Tamasic. So Anandamaya Kosha are in the form of vrittis, and the three vrittis, the three categories which we have seen before also is Priya, Moda, and Pramoda. So internally, what do we experience as happiness is in the form of four thoughts. Nidra vritti, vritti means the sleep vritti, which is actually a tamasic vritti. All this, they get the reflection of Atma. And the reflections, they change. The sattva, rajas, and tamas experiences of joy, they are based on objects, not on priya, moda, and pramoda. These objects, they are not there in sleep. In sleep, what happens is, it is nidra rupa bhoga. Nidra rupa bhoga is a tamasic sukham. I'm just trying to differentiate between a rajasic sukham and a sattvic sukham and a tamasic sukham in this chart. Punya bhoge shanta nidra rupena liyate. These are all sentences from the verse. So what he says, Vidyarana says is, these three vrittis, that means the joy vrittis, they help you to withdraw from the world. And therefore, you get chitta ekagrata. Ekagrata means you go inside in one line of thought process. And that thought is what gets reflection of the ananda of the Atma. In nidra, in sleep, the tamo guna, this is a guna of nature of the five elements. The nature of the five elements is what? Whenever the mind is tired, the tamo guna will set in. You will feel like sleeping. Your body is tired, the mind is tired of all the experiences. At 10 o'clock in the night, you just put off the light and you go to sleep. There is a difference between sattva guna ananda and tamo guna ananda. See how deep Vidyaranya goes. He differentiates the two. Nobody can deny joy in life because this joy in life is natural. The sleep, the joy born out of sleep, out of tamas, in the sleep state is a natural state. And what is the nature? Sukhena aham aswapsam. I slept peacefully, happily. So what is the criteria of joy, Anadamaya Kosha? The only criteria is the mind should be inward looking. Anytime the mind is outside, there is no sukha. You are in rajasic vritti. When the mind is turned inwards, either by way of meditation, japa, you go to a temple, your vrittis, your thoughts all reduce. In a temple atmosphere, your thoughts will come down. When you chant Vishnu Sahasranama, at the end of Vishnu Sahasranama, you'll find my mind is so quiet. That joy is an inward looking thought which gets the joy of Atma. That is what Vidyaranya is trying to explain to us. The next verse, 10, 11, and 12, yeah, all these are all related to Anandamaya Kosha. Let's see what this verse says.
Kadachit katvato natma, kadachit katvato natma, Syadanandamayopyayam, Syadanandamayopyayam, Bimbabhutoya ananda, Bimbabhutoya ananda, Atmasau sarvada sthite. आत्मासौ सर्वदा स्थिते.
Vidyaranya says that this Anandamaya Kosha, which has got bliss, is not the self. So, in our analysis, we have seen the Karta is not the self. Now he is saying Anandamaya Kosha is the Bhokta. It is the enjoyer of vrittis, inward looking vrittis. It is also a vritti. It is not me, the self, which is pure, without any vritti, without any guna. I am guna atita atma, 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Why, therefore, and why is this Anandamaya Kosha not me? Because it is temporary, it is impermanent. The self is joy, bliss by its nature. But that is a permanent nature. It never changes. What we experience is called as reflected ananda of Atma. Hence, this Anandamaya Kosha is not the real self. That is what he's trying to convey in verses 10 and 11. And then he will cross over and say, now what is there after Anandamaya Kosha? I am Ananda, maya api anatma sheath. This Anandamaya Kosha is also anatma. It is one of the koshas. It is a covering. Covering for what? Atma. Kadachit katvataha. Because this is temporary. Experienced temporarily in sleep state or whenever there is joyful objects around us. What is Atma Bimba Bhuta Ananda? It is Sarvada Stitehe. It is always there. I, the pure consciousness, the pure awareness, I'm always there. Every time I'm there. Right now it is there. You and I are pure awareness. When I speak, the sound is coming and disturbing that Ananda. It is the sound which is heard by you. It disturbs the pure consciousness. And then I experience the sound. When I speak again, the consciousness is disturbed. What is Anandamaya Kosha and how is it different than the Atma Ananda? Atma Ananda is the source. It is the pure consciousness. It is always there. It is permanent. And our whole life is based on how to get this Sukham. We take different objects in the world. We take and we get different categories of Ananda called as Priya, Moda and Pramoda or Nidra in sleep. But all this Priya, Moda, Pramoda and Nidra, they are all reflected Ananda. And they will come only when there is ekagrata. Suppose your mind is agitated, you will not have this sukham. This is the basic theory of Vedanta. Whenever there is agitation in the mind, you will not experience happiness. You can try it out. You can test yourself. You can check for yourself, when was I happy early in the morning? Peaceful. I went for a walk, nobody around, very joyful. Because the vrittis, the thoughts in the mind are very quiet. I am one with myself. So Vishaya Bhoga, whenever the objects come, it is Rajasika Bhoga. They are there temporarily. My mind gets into action and I enjoy something. Suppose it's ice cream. Suppose it is the joy born out of the objects outside. But ultimately, that joy is nothing but it is a reflection of my own joy, which is the joy of Atman. The Rajo Vritti can't hold joy for too long because they disappear. Every second they disappear. In Rajas, Ekagrata is destroyed. And whenever the Ekagrata, the oneness, the concentration of the thoughts is disturbed, the joy goes away. A quick revision of what we have studied so far is Anadamaya Kosha is always in the form of vrittis. It is Antakarana Parinama Vritti. It is a joy born out of modifications in the Antakarana, which is the mind intellect equipment. The vrittis are either Bahirmukam or Antharmukam. Bahirmukam means I see an object outside, which is ice cream or any object, or my son, or whatever gives me joy. Antharmukam means there is no Bahya Vishayam, there is no external object, there are no external objects at all. But still I enjoy Sukham. When I enjoy that Sukham, it is called as Antharmukha. And external objects give me joy. Internally, Ananda is in the form of three types of thoughts, which is Priya, Moda, and Pramoda. I have already described what is Priya, Moda, and Pramoda before. You can go through that in the old notes. When is Anadamaya Kosha experience? When the mind and intellect comes, you experience this. Suppose there is no mind intellect, this Anandamaya Kosha is not there. The three avasthas of Anandamaya Koshas, for example, Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti. In Sushupti, there is no mind intellect equipment. In Swapna, there is only mind, because the intellect doesn't function in the Swapna state. In the Jagrat, both the mind and intellect, they function. These are all the different, therefore our experiences of joy are different. See how Vidyaranya goes into details and says, look at your joy and see and classify them into these type of structures. Then you will be able to understand, oh, this is what is my happiness. See, the happiness itself, he divides into different categories. When Anandamaya Kosha comes, the Punya Bhoga comes, that means my Punyam is getting manifested. That's what we have seen. The three gunas are Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. In Rajas, there is no Antharmukhatvam, no inward looking. It is only excitement of the vrittis. In Sattva, it quietens the mind. Suppose the object is in front and your mind quietens, that is called as Sattva. And that Sattvic vritti can reach the Anandamaya Kosha. It can get the reflection of the Atma. In Tamas, in sleep state, you can reach Anandamaya Kosha, but it is dull Ananda. It is different than the pure Ananda of Atma. In the 14th chapter, the 17th verse, Sattva sanjayate jnanam rajaso lobha evacha pramada mohau tamasah bhavato jnanam evacha. This verse describes how knowledge arises in sattvic state, greed arises in rajasic state, and delusion comes in the state of ignorance. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Sattva means knowledge, Rajas means greed, delusion means Tamas. If you want to understand a little bit more on this, you have to study the 14th chapter of the Gita. It is very beautifully structured. One thing which you should just remember is Sattva means Sukham, happiness. In sleep, Sattva and Rajas are overpowered. They are not there. What comes in is Tamas. it dullens the vrittis. There is no knowledge of the external objects at all in the sleep state. It is reflected consciousness in the Anadamaya Kosha, which we experience in sleep, slightly different than objects' happiness. Anandamaya Kosha, in the 10th verse, we have seen it is not the self because it is temporary and impermanent. What is the real self? It is the source of Ananda. It is the source of all types of happiness because that happens to be my nature. And that source is what is getting reflected either in the sleep, but in ignorance, the bliss gets completely covered. Sattva is not there. The vrittis are antharmukam in the sleep state. They are all, when any type of antharmukha vrittis can be categorized as priya, moda, and pramoda or nidra. These are all the antharmukha vrittis. Antharmukha means inward looking vrittis. So one thing which we have learned from Vidyaranya is there are two types of vrittis. One is outward looking vrittis, which is bahirmukhatva. Whenever it is outward looking, you are in the manomaya kosha and vijnanamaya kosha. Whenever there is a joy born, it is antharmukha vrittis. This very important chart here. Antharmukha vrittis, inner looking vrittis, it is inward looking. It is now started going towards the self. Therefore, you start enjoying the Atma's bliss. Anytime you have experience of joy, you remember it is not the bahirmukham, it is the antharmukham. Why we do all this analysis? Because I want to know what is Atma, which is without all these vrittis. Even the vritti of the sleep state I have to drop, which is the nidra vritti. It is also a vritti from the karana sharira. I will go into that a little later. So, bahirmukhatvam, antharmukhatvam, you must be able to see it in your own self. When you reach the vritti and you try to analyze like this, then you will reach the next state, which is called as the self, the pure self. The kadachit katvataha is an important part of this verse, number 10. Anadamaya Kosha is transient, temporary. We don't have the vrittis all the time because they disappear. Say, for example, as soon as the morning comes, you all wake up, go into action. At that time, there is no ananda at all. We are busy working. When we are busy working in the field, any type of job, whether you're cooking, whether you're going to office, whether you're in the hospital, whether you're in the field, all these are rajasic vrittis. There is no joyful vrittis there. So ananda is experienced for a short period. Therefore, it is not my real nature. I am always there. Is all my in all my experiences, not only in sushupti or sukham or dukham, but in all the states, the consciousness, awareness, chaitanyam is always there. That chaitanyam is pure ananda without any sulliness because of the mind. The mind gets sullied because of rajasic and tamasic vrittis. I have sattvic vrittis, but that is also sullied. Sullied means it doesn't remain for too long. The truth has gateway through the ignorance, which covers the 5 koshas, the 3 avasthas, and the 3 sharirams. The knowledge principle, the pure consciousness is the knowledge principle. but it is covered with ignorance. That is what we are saying now. Therefore, we have to understand what is this covering, which is called as ignorance, darkness, which covers the nature of Atman. In order to do that, there is a process called as adhyaropa apavada. Adhyaropa means that you understand that there is a superimposition, adhyasa, of the 5 koshas on the Atma. Then apavada means what? I try to drop these koshas one by one. And then, do I drop everything? No. Whatever is the remainder, I hold that as Satyam. Self alone exists, is my experience. Then I drop these 5 koshas. This is what is the process of understanding who I am. First, I must know that I'm ignorant of this pure state. Then I have to gain the knowledge, become a jnani. Our ego is the one which doesn't allow us to become even a student, you know. Suppose you say, I want to go and learn Bhagavad Gita, everybody will laugh at you. Say, why are you wasting your time? So it is the ego. Or we have a very strong personality. I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a minister, I'm a PhD holder, I'm a CEO, I'm a yoga teacher. These are all egos. Ego is nothing but that karta, the nature of that vijnanamaya kosha only. And that is, according to Vedanta, it is ignorance. You're living in ignorance. So Panchakosha Viveka means removing that ignorance of the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is the holder of that personality of the doctor, lawyer, yoga teacher, CEO, all that. It's a holder. I'm a mother, I'm a father. These are all ego states. All self-experiences are divided in these 5 koshas. There is nothing which is outside these 5 koshas. Our present self-expression is nothing but identification with these 5 koshas as me. This you should remember. Who am I? If you analyze your answer to the question, it will be one of these 5 koshas only. In the first chapter of Panchadasi, Vidyaranya takes 3 sharirams for analysis. And there he says that the sthula shariram means bodies. Sthula shariram, one of the questions which Deepak had asked me in say 2-3 classes before is the answer to the question he raised. How can I divide the shariram into koshas? That answer is here. The sthula shariram, the gross body, is Annamaya Kosha. The sukshma shariram, the subtle body, consists of 3 koshas: pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya. And the karana shariram consists of anandamaya kosha. So when we study 3 bodies, you should remember this is how the koshas are divided amongst the 3 bodies. It is one entity which becomes the perceiver and the perceived, the doer and the enjoyer. One single entity. It gets divided into these koshas. Manomaya kosha is the perceiver. Vijnanamaya kosha is the doer. Anandamaya kosha is the enjoyer. All are nothing but variations in the matter world. Prakriti. They are all changes, modifications in Prakriti, but they are not the Purusha, the Atma. Anandamaya is also not self because it is temporary. That is the essence of this verse. The bliss, original consciousness, is the source of happiness in the sleep state. It is eternal, immutable, and is the ultimate self. This is where we have to reach to know who I am. I have to reach that state of my nature which lies beyond the five koshas, beyond the joy born out of sleep also, because that is based on ignorance. Ignorance is the joy experienced in sleep. Bliss is the joy of pure Atma. So two methods can be used. Either you can use the Shariram method to come to Atma, the three Sharirams. That means the gross body, subtle body, causal body, drop all the three bodies, you can realize the Atma. The second method is you drop the five koshas, drop the Annamaya Kosha, the gross body, pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya, the subtle body, anandamaya, the causal body. And who am I? I am Atma. Then there is a question which may come to you. Many times we use the word vasana. This vasana belongs to which kosha? Does it belong to Anandamaya Kosha or Karana Sharira Kosha? Priya, Moda, Pramoda, they all belong to Karana Sharira. They are vrittis born in the Karana Sharira because they are inward looking vrittis. They are not the subtle body vrittis which are the outward looking. So vasana is a deeper part of manomaya and vijnanamaya. Is it that, or is it anandamaya kosha? Vasana is the cause of all vrittis. That means it is not the vritti, but it is the cause of the vrittis. There is a text called as Jivan Mukti Viveka. In that, the definition of vasana is given. It is given there as Karana Rupa Vritti. It is a sudden upsurge of vrittis which comes from the Karana Shariram, like our Kama and Krodha, which we experience. Avicharena. Avicharena means there is no thought, deliberate thought involved in these vrittis. It is just a sudden outburst. The two Karana Shariram vrittis are, one is in the dream state, the vasanas from the Karana Shariram, they give us the experience of this dream state. That is how Vidyaranya explains this. In the deep sleep state, the Vasanamaya Kosha, which is the Nidra Vritti, it is also a Vritti. Sleep, according to Vidyaranya, is a Vritti, is a thought. I don't experience anything. That is what is called as ignorance Vritti. It is homogeneous. You can't recognize any differences in the thoughts there. Aham kim api na janami. I don't know anything. All thoughts, knowledge becomes vasana. Undifferentiated, nothing in deep sleep. Undifferentiated, I can't differentiate. Like in the waking state, I can differentiate the trees, the mountains, the buildings, the cars, everything, people. But what happens in the sleep state? I'm still there. I'm still enjoying. I'm existent in sleep. But in sleep, what do I experience? Undifferentiated thought of almost nothing in sleep. It's like a dark room, we see nothing. In a dark room, what happens? All the objects are still there, but my light is not there. So what do I see? Tamas. Tamas is in what form? Darkness. That darkness is exactly similar to the sleep darkness. That is why we say tamas is sleep state. Non-differentiation, homogeneous. Darkness is what? Homogeneous, dark. The cognition of ignorance and the cognition of knowledge is basically seeing a dark room, seeing non-differentiation of everything is called as ignorance. Seeing a lighted room means seeing the differentiation of everything is knowledge. Can you see the difference between knowledge and ignorance? Unmanifestation is nothing but seeing a dark room. Manifestation means seeing a bright room with all the objects. So in sleep, in waking, what happens? Knowledge. I am in the field of knowledge, cognition of knowledge, jnanam. In sleep, what happens? Cognition of ignorance. It's a dark room in which there is no objects, neither me, neither anybody else in the world. I am nothing to, I am nothing to I am everything is the spiritual journey. Why? Because the I is beyond the knowledge and the ignorance. That consciousness is beyond knowledge and ignorance. I am nothing means what? Sleep state. But I am everything means what? The status of Atma. I am complete. Purnaha. I am not even Karana Shariram, Vasanas, Anadamaya Koshas, they're all temporary. But who am I? I am Bimbha Bhuta Ananda. The original source of all joy is me, the consciousness, without any objects. That is what is the revelation of Swami Vidyaranya. Because Atma is sarvada sthitehe. It exists continuously, always. Sat and asat. Bhavaha comes and goes. Sat means it existing in the waking state. Asat means it is not there. It doesn't exist in the sleep state. The states of Sat and Asat comes and goes. Anandamaya Kosha also comes and goes in Jagrat and in sleep. Both realm of self experience only. Both are in the self, there is no selfhood up to Anadamaya Kosha. That means, Kosha means it is a covering. But beyond this Jagrat and Swapna and Nidra is this Atma. Beyond the 5 koshas is this Atma. Beyond the 3 shariram is this Atma. This Atma does not require any light because it is Swayam Jyoti. Seen in the 10th chapter, which we have completed of Panchadasi. You have to bring that knowledge here. Okay, so that covers up to Anandamaya Kosha. Now, Vidyaranya brings in an opponent, and now he starts discussing what is there beyond this Anandamaya Koshas, beyond these 5 koshas. Is there anything or is there nothing? That is going to be our discussion from this 11th verse onward. Let's see what this 11th verse is.
Nanu dehamupakramya nidranandantavastushu ma bhutatmatvamanyastu na kaschidanu bhuyate.
This verse is a Purva Pakshi verse. Purva Pakshi means it is a statement of an opponent. We have Vidyaranya brings in the discussion of somebody who will oppose what we are thinking. So he will say, Purva Pakshi comes and says, okay, you have dropped all the 5 koshas. And you yourself are saying in the Nidra state, I don't experience anything. So the end result is nothing, because nothing is experienced. Nothing remains when you negate all the 5 koshas. That is what he is trying to say in this verse. No other object remains to be experienced. No Atma if I don't experience it. I experience objects, therefore I say object is there. But I don't experience Atma. So there is nothing in this world. The whole world is nothing but shunyam. It is nothingness. You yourself have said that the 5 koshas are not the self. I also agree with you. We are joining hand now. Let's walk together. Anadamaya Kosha is not nityam. It is born and it is not there after the death. The body is gone. And then we have seen akrita abhyugama dosha, krita vipranasa dosha. Some people experience which they have not, for which they have not worked in this life. That is the akrita abhyugama dosha. And then the other dosha is krita vipranasa. Some people work very hard, put all their good things in life, but they don't experience the results of that. And then they leave. So this body, if it is the actual self, it should enjoy whatever it is acting on. Whatever good things I do, I must have the result of that in this birth, but I don't see that happening. Therefore, the body is not me. Pranamaya Kosha is jadam, inert. It doesn't have any consciousness in it. It is not me, but I am conscious. Manomaya Kosha is vikaritvat. It is always changing. Sukham, dukham, emotions, all are changing rapidly. Morning, one emotion, afternoon, another emotion, evening, I'm very, very happy. How can this changing emotions be me? Manomaya Kosha. Then vijnanamaya Kosha. It ends in sleep because there is no I notion at all. I am karta. I am working. Morning to evening, I'm working. That is a karta in the waking state. But in the sleep state, this karta is not there. So how can this karta, vijnanamaya Kosha, be me? No, that is also not. Anandamaya Kosha is anityam. Whatever small little happiness I get in sleep, when I get up, which is already gone. Anandamaya Kosha is also not me. Vivek Chudamani is a very great text which explains these 5 koshas. For those of you who are interested to know a little bit more about the koshas, you can go to Vivek Chudamani. It's very simple English there. Simple verses are there. You can go and read those verses if you are interested. So the conclusion of Purva Pakshi, opponent, is I don't experience the original Ananda, the Satchid Ananda which you are talking about. I don't experience it. Therefore, Atma is not there. The world is nothing but onion peels. One after the other, I can remove all the peels and then ultimately nothing is there. All are anatma peels, it's only shunyam. What exists is non-existence. What is this Atma, Bimba Ananda, Chaitanyam, which you are talking about? Sat Swarupam. The Priya Moda Pramoda has object and it is a reflection of Ananda. But you are saying Atma is, nature is Ananda, but I am not able to experience that. I don't have anubhava of Atma Ananda. That is what is the opponent saying here. reflection and no reflection. Anandamaya Kosha is with reflection. Like in the water, I see the reflection of the sun or the moon. The movement of the mind is taken as Atma if you take the reflection as Atma. That means if I take mind as Atma, I am making an error. Suppose you say the source of Ananda of the world is still there, but you remove the water, moon, and the sun. You remove the water and the moon, which is reflection, but the sun is still there. The source is independent of the reflection. That is what Advaitin wants to prove. How the source can be permanent? The presence and absence of reflection doesn't have impact on the source. Suppose I see myself in the mirror. That reflection in the mirror has got, it comes and goes. When the reflection comes and goes, I am still there. That is what is the analysis which we will be doing in the following verses. Just to give you a short background, in chapter 1, Vidyaranya focuses on the existence aspect. In chapter 10, which we have already covered, he focuses on the Chit aspect, the Swayam Jyoti. Here, in chapter 3, Vidyaranya is going to focus on the Ananda aspect. So verse 11 is the Purva Pakshi. The Pratibimba concept is okay, but there is no self-experience. According to Purva Pakshi, the self is not there because it is not experienced. Next week, we are going to see what is the Vedantin's answer to this Purva Pakshi. I'll tell you what the answer is so that you don't have a suspense. What Vidyaranya says is, all what you are saying as the 5 koshas is object, experienced. But the subject is there without objectification. And that subject is the self. Who is experiencing these objects? It is the experiencer self. That is what is the answer given to Purva Pakshi, which we will see next week. Okay, that completes the talk on Panchadasi today. Om. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. There is nothing in the chat. If you have any questions, you can ask. You can unmute yourself. If you have any questions on what we have presented today or in meditation, if you have any questions, you can ask them. Yeah, Shama, please go ahead. I can't hear you. I think, yeah. Yeah, can you speak now?
Question.
Yeah, Shama, go ahead.
She is a doctor.
I can't hear you. Can you speak? You have not. You can you unmute your mic? Unmute the sound. Can you try now? I think there is some problem in the, we can't hear you. Okay, anybody else has a question? We'll come back to Shama later. Anybody else has a question?
So, Shekharji, I just want to understand the, we have not talked at all on the Chidabhasha.
Yes, Chidabhasa
aspect.
we have not so far talked. It is a reflected consciousness which is there in all the koshas.
All the koshas.
Yes, it is there in
So,
all the koshas, but
yes.
the first kosha where the Chidabhasa comes is the vijnanamaya kosha.
The intellect.
The I thought is the Chit Abhasa.
Yes.
In the intellect, we first get the Chidabhasa, and then from there it gets to the manomaya kosha, to the sense organs, then it goes out.
Yes. Right.
Okay. Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Yeah, Shama, can you speak up? Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, no, this was something related to Deepak ji's the idea of the Chidabhasa. So you said, yes, of course, Chidabhasa is there in all the layers. And obviously it is in the karta and bhokta. So in the vijnanamaya kosha as the karta and anandamaya kosha as the bhokta, we
That's
are
correct. Yes.
consciously aware.
Yeah.
Now, the question which I have is two. One question is,
Yeah.
the ananda which we experience, or the joy,
Yeah.
we experience in the anandamaya kosha,
Yes.
is it not because of, it may be related to the, again, the vritti, you know, the sukha vritti of whatever the object is giving, but partly the reason why we're experiencing the joy, because whatever may be the object is most extremely relating it to my pure self.
Yes.
And therefore the ananda, it's no longer just a pleasure or sukha.
Yes, that is what Vidyaranya is saying, that it is not related to the object, but it is all coming to the subject.
And that is why it's that momentary. So, but it's not permanent.
It is not. Yeah. It is momentary. It is not permanent because it just comes and goes. You see, yesterday the joy was there, but right now I don't feel any joy.
Yeah. So whether it's a person that I meet or whether it's a work that I'm doing, the closer it is connecting with my Atman, the happier and the more ananda I'm feeling. Like if I'm enjoying the talk, it is actually connecting with me, and therefore I'm enjoying.
That's correct. That is what is the teaching. But the normal ignorant person thinks that everything is coming in the object. The joy lies in the object outside.
Correct. Thank you. One more question is, you know, this the willpower and the power of intention, which comes after doing a lot of sankalpa vikalpa. We go through this process through the buddhi, you know, which tells us right, wrong, this, that. Where is this power of intention? You know, where the power of intention really, say, if I decide this is my time for meditation, whatever happens, it automatically, one is of course relates to the adhyasa. The more something is practiced, the more it becomes natural.
Yeah.
But I want to find out where in the koshas is this located, the ability to willpower and intention.
It is in the intellectual sheath. The willpower is in the intellect, determination. It's a part of the vijnanamaya kosha. You have trained your vijnanamaya kosha to such an extent that your willpower goes up and up and up. It is the power in the vijnanamaya kosha. Some people have a very weak willpower.
Yeah.
Some people, they have a strong willpower. When they say something, they mean it, and it will be done.
Correct.
Some people, they make plans and plans and plans, and they never execute it because of a lower willpower. They have not trained the mind. So this willpower you're talking about is the shakti of the buddhi. It's a shakti, it is a power which is there in the vijnanamaya kosha.
Correct. Now the question
the real source of that power is nothing but it is the maya power. It is the shakti, the maya shakti which is there in the whole universe. It gets reflected in my buddhi for me to function as an individual person for a certain period of time. That's all.
And which of course creates millions of vrittis.
Yes, it creates. I mean, you can imagine. See, look at the way Vidyaranya is going deeper into our mind and telling us what you experience is your punyam and papam, which is fructifying in the form of vrittis.
Yeah.
Of joy and sorrow.
Yeah. The question related to the willpower is, would you recommend to your, because obviously you're very knowledgeable and very experienced, would you like to think that from our scriptures, one particular thing which will allow this willpower augmentation, you know, whether if I was to do more of the Raja Yoga, would that be an additional help? Because otherwise I can continue reading all the Shastras.
No. Your question is very good. What the scripture tells us and what acharyas tell us is doing japa.
Right.
Doing japa increases your willpower 100-fold.
Okay.
Continuous japa for maybe 10 minutes. You start with 5 minutes, increase it to 10 minutes, increase it to 15 minutes. Try it for say 3 months.
So that is a singular japa, no?
Only one japa, that's it. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya,
Whatever.
Om Namah Shivaya. Like today we did this Omkara meditation. If you do this Omkara meditation for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just chant Om, keep quiet. Chant Om, keep quiet. In the silence, let your thought come that I am with my higher nature, which is pure consciousness. From consciousness, again I come out and I chant Om. Again I go back to the same consciousness. Again I come out from the consciousness, I come out and I chant Om, outside verbally.
Okay, and
mentally.
Yeah, and this should be a practice not only during puja or during meditation.
No, this is purely
any opportunity, opportunity.
Yes, you go for a walk and you tell yourself, I'm going to chant Om during the walk, maybe for 5 minutes, you go around a circle. I'm going to drop all my other worldly thoughts. I'm only going to chant Om. I'm going to drop all other thoughts. I'm going to chant Om. And remember, you are coming out from your consciousness into the world to chant and then experience the world. And then again, you're going back into consciousness. You're rising from consciousness and resolving into consciousness. Always remember this fact. And then what will happen is, this is called as Brahma Bhava. This
Right.
Brahma Bhava remains with you forever.
Right.
Always
And
it will be in the background, whatever actions you do. Pashyan, Shrinvan, Jigran, Swap, and that verse you should remember.
that's lovely.
It becomes a reality for you because I am that pure consciousness. This Pashyan, Shrinvan, and Jigran is going on in the lower order of reality, which is called as Vyavaharika Satya.
And what you're saying is with training, it should be possible that even in all our functions,
Yes,
there
there
is
are
that,
thousands of Swamijis who will vouch whatever I'm saying.
yeah, that the japan can continue going
Yes.
at the background.
Yes.
You don't even have to
You don't
think
have to do
consciously.
anything. This is something which is happening in your own intellect at the background. That is what is called as Brahma Bhava. And the Jiva Bhava is when your ego is strong and you're identified with the world, that is called as Jiva Bhava. The Jiva
I have
Bhava
also, yeah.
undergoes a tremendous change when you do japa.
And I've also read that the same thing is actually in a very short form, it's described as, you are talking Brahma Bhava, but this is smaranam.
Yes.
So what you are
Smaranam.
doing through that japam is you're actually
Ishvara Smaranam.
remembering your,
Yeah, you can
your
say
real
that
self.
that is the same. That see, I am saying using the word of rising from
Brahma Bhava.
consciousness.
Yeah.
But what you can say is, I am merged with Ishvara. I'm coming out from the Ishvara's lap and coming into this world to experience some paltry things for a few hours.
Yeah.
And then I'm going back into my real self, which is one with Ishvara.
Yeah. And just really lastly, this is just postulation. So what I'm also thinking is that if I can do it as a practice, then it actually takes away even that little bit. You know, sometimes the mind goes into a little despair because you're not doing what you set out to do, but it can immediately negate that, you know,
Yes.
to sort of say, just because you've gone back to remembrance. So
Correct.
you need not sort of worry, oh, today I didn't do my meditation in the right time,
Absolutely.
you know. So because that really pushes you down, and I feel really very sad.
No, one thing you should
Then I get
remember.
sucked into that sad
Yeah.
moment.
No, that is natural because you that is a feeling of guilt that I didn't do what I want to do. You see,
Yeah,
I like to do it, but I can't do it.
that is why I asked you that question.
Yeah. So that is a natural feeling because you are coming out from the Jiva Bhava and trying to see what is this Brahma Bhava? What is this Brahma Bhava?
Yeah.
So you see, that is why we are all seekers today.
Yeah.
We are all in the path. And the moment we are able to do and achieve even the small minuscule of this japa, it will give us a total change in our inner experience of some bliss, some joy, which is outside this external world.
Yeah, you're a strong inspiration, I have to admit, which is you are a grihastha and you actually work so hard. It's so determined. It's so clear. And you couldn't do these classes if you didn't have clarity of your own mind. But you've actually worked yourself.
It is repeated. Yeah. What is Shama? What is what you're saying is nothing but it's a result of repeated shravanam. That's all.
Okay.
Keep on listening to the scriptures, but you should do the right texts. Very important is to select the right text, and then you will see the fruit coming out of that text. It is nothing but it is a joy of the scriptures.
Are you able to give the shlokas which are from the Vivek Chudamani, which are relating to Panchko? Otherwise, I'll have to look it up.
No, you look at it. If you see the index of Vivek Chudamani, you will see Annamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha. It's very clearly in the index. It is clearly given.
No problems. Thank you.
Right at the beginning of the text, the Vivek Chudamani text, you can see the 5 koshas. Go and read those 5 koshas. to get a depth of what we are doing in Panchadasi.
Thank you.
But
Thank you so much. Thank you.
After this 12th, in the next verse onwards, we are going to do a tremendous inquiry on the pure Atma. See, now
Okay.
we have left the 5 koshas. Now our real search begins about Atma. So that's a very interesting portion.
Thank you.
Okay, if we chant Om or Om, which way chanting is right way? Okay, this question is asked me by several times, Vinod. See, when we write Om, we write it as A-U-M. When we write Om as A-U-M because A stands for waking state, U stands for the dream state, M stands for the sleep state. But whenever you want to chant, whenever you want to chant, you should use OM. That's all. Om. Not Aum. Not Aum. Many people make a mistake. They start chanting what they write. So the right thing to do, chant, when it comes to chanting, use the word O. Om. Just open your mouth, close the mouth. Open the mouth, close the mouth. O, Om, Om. That's how you chant Om. When you write, you can write as A-U-M. Okay, so Vinod, I think that japa is real meditation. Yes, Vijaya. Vijaya, you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning to listen this talk from Texas. I really appreciate you. Okay, anything else?
Sorry, I'm missing these sessions, and today I got up late. Upanishad, I could get up at 5, but today I missed it. So I
don't worry. You can always listen if to the recorded version the next day.
Sure, I will do that, Shekharji.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else has a question? Okay, if there are no questions, we'll close, and we will do the same Mundaka Upanishad mantra meditation next week also. I will follow the same because this is a very, very powerful meditation. And there are 5-6 mantras in the Mundaka Upanishad, 2-4, second chapter, second section, verse number 4, 5, 6 onwards is all. There are 6-7 verses which talk about this meditation. This is one form of meditation in Mundaka Upanishad. In Mandukya, it is another form of meditation where you really take the 3 states. Here, in this Omkara, it is only saying, okay, the target is using like a bow and arrow, and then hitting the chanting of Om hits the target, which is consciousness. That is what you should remember in this Omkara meditation. The target is pure consciousness. That is where I am rising from in my next chant. Before mentally I chant Om again, where am I coming from? That I, which is called as pure consciousness. Again I chant Om. Again, where does this sound dissolves? It dissolves in consciousness. There is nothing other than this consciousness, which is the truth, which is there, always there. This consciousness cannot be seen, but it can be known by a meditator. That is what is the teaching. In the next verse, which we're going to study, Vidyaranya is going to say that all the meditators, they are able to realize this consciousness as the subject I. It is not an object outside. There is nothing object outside. It is not even a thought of Om. The thought of Om is experienced by what? It is this consciousness. Anyway, we'll study this next week. Thank you. And
Mr.
yeah, Jacqueline.
I just something prompted my mind. In fact, if somebody is sad or depressed, it is also because of consciousness, right?
It is not because of consciousness. It is in the light of consciousness, the sad thoughts are coming and going. The sad thoughts are coming because of prarabdha karma, because of the previous meritorious action or demeritorious action. Because of the demeritorious action, I'll give you an example. Suppose you have hurt somebody. Suppose you have hurt somebody by your anger. Now you sit in meditation, and then the thought which will come to you is, why did I become angry on that person? This is the thought which will come in meditation. Now that is what is called as papam. Papam means it is a demeritorious, it is a demeritorious action which you have done, but it is manifesting in the form of a vasana, in the form of a thought.
Okay, I think I have to phrase it another way. Yes, we're supposed to be blissful, but in occasion, we can be agitated even with the smallest thing. Example, password. Nowadays, there are so many passwords, okay? But what I'm saying that this is really already, okay, minute. But what I'm saying that is, it is illuminated by the consciousness that to be manifested that I'm angry.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, in that aspect, because I shouldn't be angry, but because I am a human being, and it illuminates me to be angry, which I have to subside it and tell myself that I am the pure consciousness, Om. If not, then on the other hand, I will be blissful, just like what you just give an example just now. In the circumstances, how I meet you in this class and everybody else is because of my past, whatever that happened, that I have to be here.
Yes, it's called as prarabdha karma. That's all. We are all together because of some connection which we have had in the past, and it's connecting us together today. That's all.
Yeah. So it's just like a sadness is illuminated. Our daily transaction. A sadness is illuminated by the pure consciousness that we have to go through that transaction. And it's because of sadness and depressed, and after that we just get out of it.
Yes, you're right. We just get out of the sadness. You see, the beauty is the moment we realize that we are having some sad thoughts, immediately the awareness of the sad thoughts will make me come out of the sad thoughts.
Yeah.
I become aware. The moment I become aware, my mind will suddenly say, okay, get rid of these thoughts. Let me do something else.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Appreciate the explanation. Really.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Saru Narola is asking a question. Which Viveka Chudamani you are talking about? I am talking about Vivek Chudamani by Swami Chinmayananda. Now, in that, the gross body is topic number 17, and it is from verse number 72 to 75 of Vivek Chudamani. Topic number 17, verses 72 to 75 is this gross body. Then the subtle body is, you can see the subtle body in verses 96 to 101. Then the causal body is from 120 to 121. So these are the verses. Then in the Vivek Chudamani, there is a section which negates the 5 koshas. That is from verses 154 to 190 to 188. Annamaya Kosha is negated, Pranamaya Kosha is negated, Manomaya Kosha is negated, Vijnanamaya Kosha is negated. And then ultimately it says Atma is ever unattached. Okay, so if you study the Vivek Chudamani, you will get a lot of details about these kosha. That is one textbook. The second textbook you can refer is Taittiriya Upanishad. Taittiriya Upanishad, the second chapter, the whole of second chapter is very important. And it goes step by step. It starts with Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, and then it will say, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. But what Vidyaranya, what we are going to study is the essence of that. The essence of Vivek Chudamani, the essence of the Taittiriya Upanishad. That is what we are going to study from verse number 12 to verse number 47.
And this Taittiriya Upanishad is also by Swami Chinmayananda?
No, Taittiriya Upanishad, yeah, that book is, you can get the book from, there's a commentary of Chinmaya Mission. Okay. You can refer to the commentary. So like this Vivek Chudamani, there is a commentary from the Chinmaya Mission. Both these books are available. You can order it online. You can go to Chinmaya Mission, just pick up these books. You can read them. So these will give you some more details, but nothing like listening to these things.
Yes.
If you listen, you will be able to pick much more than what you can get through the books.
I think in chapter 11 to 15 also Vidyaranya seems covered. No? This Taittiriya Upanishad, that 5 questions.
Yes. No, chapter 11 to 15 covers only the Anandamaya Kosha.
Only Anandamaya Kosha.
Yeah, the whole 5 chapters are devoted to Ananda.
That will be.
That is in Panchadasi.
Shekhaji, commentary on Panchadasi by Swami Anubhavananda is also a good reading material after lectures.
Which one you're saying? Is it from the Ramakrishna Mission?
No, by Anubhavananda.
Anubhavananda, yes. Yeah. He's from the Arsha Vidyalaya school. He is.
But he had this particular commentary has been blessed by Swami Tejananda.
Okay. All right. So you can share. You can share in the WhatsApp. You can just share a picture of this book and also from where people can buy it.
And in Chinmayananda Ashram, they have a set of 12 Upanishads that you can order for.
Yes.
And if you order, you get the very nice and absolutely brilliant.
Okay. See, whenever you buy these things, before you buy, you must make a sankalpa. Otherwise, don't buy. Because unnecessarily it will lie in the cupboard for 5 years or 10 years.
Very true. Very true.
You know, you make a sankalpa today that I will read one textbook. I will read every day half an hour. I will complete the text. And then you take the next.
That's very important.
My suggestion is take one by one. Yeah. Because the problem is the moment you say, okay, I will buy everything, but then everything goes upside down, and then you may have bought, you know, your cupboard is full of 125 books.
You're absolutely right, and my wife tends to be extremely upset when she sees all the books all around. But what I'm doing, Shekhaji, is that I'm mirroring these books with your lectures.
Yes,
so for
very
example,
good. You should do it.
Yeah, the chapter 3, Panchadasi, the commentary by Swami Tejananda ji by Ashram is a very thin book. Correct. But it really adds to the flavor of your talks.
Definitely. You can go through these books. These are very good books. You can add on. See, anything after this, what you have listened, you can always add on. Yeah, Vijay, you have a question. Can you ask?
I think it's a pass through. It was a follow-up question I think Jacqueline had. about where is this, the pain and sorrow actually,
Yes,
is
yes.
it due to the Atma consciousness? I think Atma, when you said that it is abhukta karta, it only lends the consciousness, but the suffering is anyway made of the mind.
Correct.
But my question is not that. My question here is, when you gave an example of when you are angry and then you kind of, be reflective of it after outbursting it, right? It's what it says, no? Dhyayato vishyam pumsam sangaseshu pradayate. So I do that, but when only when I am having the Brahma vritti, or only when I am in that sattvic mode, would I be getting this awareness to even think.
Yes.
And that is the saphala of these sessions which you are doing to us. Had we not been in these sessions, I think even that awareness wouldn't come that we have, disrespected or, behaved in a very erratic manner. So that thought itself is probably to some extent a nivritti, in the sense a removal of the ignorance. So, but if having done that, the thought which comes when the meditation, in which you mentally actually suffer with guilt, probably to some extent, would that not be called as upashamana? Will that not be called as paschatapa, wherein my agami would be ended there? Can I not extend my thought that way?
Yeah, you can. Yes. See, what happens is our vasanas have to be either fructified in the world, or they can be neutralized in the meditation. There are some vrittis which come up in the meditation, and that is what happens in the meditation is you are neutralizing it. That is what you are saying as paschatapa,
Yes.
You can neutralize a part of your vasanas in meditation, because the force of your vasanas gets reduced. After you keep on doing these type of meditations, anybody who has done meditation will vouch this for you and say that definitely I have got some benefit out of my contemplation, inward thinking, inward looking. Definitely all of us who have done meditation will come and say, yes, I can't express to you what happens, but there is some benefit which I have experienced. All of us. There is not a single person I have met who says that my meditation has gone in waste. Nobody will say this. Because we are born with a certain amount of prarabdha karma which we have to fulfill in this world. There are some bad effects of prarabdha which can get neutralized in your meditation. Because the power of meditation, it can neutralize it can destroy some of the karma phalas which are very bad for you. It can, because you are bringing in the light of consciousness to destroy or to reduce the number of afflictions which your vasanas can make. This happens. That is why you feel very light. You feel very blessed after meditations. I feel I have enjoyed something out of this world. It is nothing to do with this world. It is my own inner experience. And this grows. I'm telling you, it grows as you keep doing these type of meditations. So for some people, it is not actually they go and sit down and do meditation. For some people, by listening to the scripture itself, their mind gets quieted. It gets quietened. It gets quietened. Every day when they listen to the scriptures, their mind comes. I have really seen participants in these talks. They were very different 5 years ago. They were very different. I'm telling you, they were very different 5 years, 8 years ago when I met them as a seeker. And when I interact with them today as a seeker, there is a huge difference. What made the difference is only listening to the scriptures. It is these words of the scriptures which really transform our inner personality. Okay, thank you, Vijay. Yeah.
I have
Yes,
one more question.
Tell me.
Just for discussion or for just, you know, all these big shot, right?
Yeah.
Or not even big shot. They have tons, let's say they are the prime minister or whoever of the country or whatever, or the CEO. And they have a lot of things that they have to handle. And I wonder, they actually do meditation and or because of their past karma that they are so conformed, you know?
Yes. You see, what happens is the inner structure of a human being, you and I, nobody can understand. As an external person, I cannot understand your internal mind structure.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same when you try to understand somebody else. You know, there are several answers to that. One is they have done something well, therefore they are enjoying that position, they are having sukham. But then from their point of view, they may not be having joy. They may be really suffering.
Yeah, to me, it's just like, because I am in this class, I'm blessed in this class, and I am chanting of Om or Om Namah Shivaya or meditation, and therefore I kind of like know, I mean, I am the consciousness. But for those folks who are not in this class, and you know, yes, the internal structure we don't know, just like me and you, we don't know, you know, but I'm just curious. Not that I need to be curious, but it's just like amazing, because for all those people that handle such a thing, and I'm sure that tons of things that is bombarding them, and that their internal structure is so strong, and you know, carry on. That's the sometimes that, oh, what happened? Am I in that position or not? You know? Yeah.
Basically, you should always say that whatever a person is deserving, he will get it in this world.
Okay.
You know,
whatever is the path is already.
Yes, that's correct.
Even,
you know what?
Even in so many generations, I'm born in this
whatever is deserving me, whatever is
to do whatever needed.
Correct.
If we really ask a prime minister or president, are you happy? They may say no. They say they will be happy when they are out of their power.
Yes.
No, I'm just curious sometimes, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a very complex structure. Like what
you see, basically, always remember the whole cosmos is acting because of the law of karma. Always remember this fundamental point. The whole cosmos is because of the law of karma, and this law of karma decides who experiences what at what time. Yeah, exactly. Because just okay. I think that's really a light that shed. You know, whatever it is, this is who I am. I am angry right now, and it's because I'm illuminated by this small little thing to be angry, and it will be past. Yes.
Shikarji, if you would just allow, because
tell me.
It's just really going back to the Sankalpa, because today is my Sankalpa day, so I'm being very selfish here, and my apologies to everyone else. Is self-effort, Sankalpa requires some self-effort, isn't it?
Yes.
So should it be forceful or gradual?
Gradual.
Gradual.
Okay, thank you.
Never do a sankalpa and make it forceful, because you will suffer.
Okay, thank you. That's my question is answered.
Thank you. And it's already 8:30. We'll close, and we'll see next week. We'll start with verse number 12.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.